Hey everyone, welcome to Fantasy Book Reviews. I'm Ray.
And I'm Nick. Today we're going to be talking about The Eye of the World, Book One of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series.
This is the long form interview, spoiler filled. If you want a spoiler free review, go ahead and check out our link here. We have a spoiler free short form review of The Wheel of Time Book 1. This will be the long form, full of spoilers. We're going to go into everything in this story. We're going to keep spoilers out from future books,
Mm-hmm.
but not from this book. To lay the scene, myself and Nick, we've both read the book many years ago, but we went ahead
Mm-hmm.
and reread for this, just thought we'd do it. So we went ahead and reread the book. So we do have the full series knowledge. With that, we're going to keep that out of our biases as best possible for this book,
Yeah, as best as we can.
as best as we can. And with that, let's just jump right in, yeah?
So the with this book, right? And I'm assuming if everyone watching they've read the book. Again, if you haven't read the book, go watch a spoiler free and read the book, and then come back. It's easy.
Read the
Um,
book.
so with this book, I just want to kind of give a little background because the first book and the first three books are pretty significant to the overall series. In that, so this book, The Eye of the World, came out in 1990, January of 1990, I believe. And whenever Robert Jordan got this book deal, it was only a deal for the first book. Now he had, I believe, gotten verbal confirmation from the publishing company, like, "Hey, if your book does well, we'll give you two more books." Um, so that's pretty significant whenever you read these first three books because their pacing feels like a trilogy. And even in the first book, the pacing, Robert Jordan wrote it to almost be a standalone book if need be, right? If
Yeah.
if the publishing company didn't re-up his contract for the next two, he was like, all right, then hopefully this one can be a satisfying ending, which of course it would have not been.
And I will
um,
say this, book one definitely feels most like a book than anything else.
yeah,
Um,
rather than a series, you mean?
yeah,
Or
it
okay,
feels like its own specific story arc.
got it. Okay,
Um,
I like it.
and with that, the way the Wheel of Time series is kind of split up in story arcs, it's kind of like books 1 and 3 are the main first arc, right? First act of the series as a whole
Mm-hmm.
really is 1 through 3, right?
Yep.
And 1 through 3, I mean, those are powerhouse books in my opinion.
Yep.
And it all starts at book one. And
Yep.
book one's pacing and its tone and the world it lays out. And it just really hits everything right for the most part,
Yeah.
right?
I love this book. And so before we get into it too much, into the specifics of the book, let's start with the prologues. Um, and I lost my original copy that I had that was obviously prior to release in 2001 because I believe books after 2001 were were published with the second prologue, or I
After
believe
oh
it. What
one,
is it called? After or later
yeah, was it after
or
2001
earlier?
you said?
Yeah, after this prologue called Ravens, right?
Yeah.
Um, was was released in 2001.
Did
So
I
obviously 11 years after the book came out.
did I read your dad's copy the first time? I think I did, huh?
Probably, I'm
Cuz I
sure.
don't remember that prologue the first time I
No, it
read
was
this,
not.
and
And
I
so that's what I'm
didn't buy
saying.
a book.
My book that I had here prior to buying this new one because I lost my original copy that I had.
Yeah.
Um, Mine didn't have it in there either. So whenever I bought this book, I was like, whoa. And when we were getting ready to
Yeah.
do this review, I haven't read the first prologue still. So
That was one of
please,
the biggest things
did
that
you
threw
read
me
it?
off. Yeah, so one of the biggest things
Okay.
that threw me off about this, right? It was like, hey, we want to do this, right? You hit me up and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I think this would be cool. I think we should do it. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, okay, I'll go buy the book. We'll reread, right?
Yep.
And I remember, and I haven't read these books in a couple, no, 3 years, I'd say, right?
Okay.
And I was like, okay, cool, reading. And mind you, those were the later books.
I was about to
So,
say, so book one, you
yeah,
probably haven't read in like 5 years.
book one, probably 2014, twenty
Okay.
thirteen, right?
Okay.
So I'm turning, right? I hit that first page earlier,
Yep.
Ravens, and I'm just like,
Just reading normally, right?
yeah,
You're like,
read
yeah,
it.
let's get into the book. I've read it before.
And then I'm like, wait, I don't remember this. What's going
Did I
on here?
skip this the first time?
Okay, and then boom, Kinley Ahan demand. I was like, who the fuck's
Oh,
that?
and I guess I should say I didn't read the first prologue still because I listened to the audiobook.
You should have read it.
I have read it many times. I have switched almost solely to audiobooks because I work a full-time job. You know, I have other stuff going on. I don't have time to just sit down and read the book. It's a necessity for me.
Yeah.
But my audiobook did not have this prologue as well, which is odd to me. But yeah. So
yeah, it threw me off reading it. I was just like,
so what do you think about it? Was it good? Was it unnecessary? Was it a good addition?
This probably would have been the better prologue, to be honest, compared to the original prologue. I love the original prologue, and knowing the story, you're like,
yeah,
dope prologue. Not knowing the story, you're like, what am I reading right now?
Yeah.
What is this? And then 3,000 years later, and you're like, what again am I reading? What is this?
The original prologue, right? Does it have a specific name in
I think
this
it's just
book?
prologue.
Is it? Okay. So the prologue in this book,
The prologue Dragon Mount.
whenever I first read it, right, I picked up book 1 when I was in middle school. I'm bad with years, so whatever. We'll call it 15 years ago. I don't remember. So when I first picked up this book in middle school, and I read the prologue, it was too daunting for me, and I put the book down. I didn't pick it back up again until freshman or sophomore year of high school. Just because I was reading the prologue and I was like, man, this makes no sense at all. I don't understand what is going on. Yeah. And as a young reader mind,
for those of you who will make fun of this, mind you, right before I read this book for the first time, I was reading Ranger's Apprentice. A lot different writing level between the books.
Maybe we should do a review of those ones too.
It's not getting a good score. I'm going to tell you that now. It's not getting a good score.
It's fine.
It's not.
That's fine. We'll do a whole. We'll get into a bunch of series.
But yeah.
But yeah. So you're saying that this is the prologue that should have been.
Not should have. It would have been an easier transition, right? Okay. You're not going confused shitless to 3,000 years future confused. You're going setting, and it's still in that setting, but 10 years later, right?
And so the original prologue is to me, it is a much better prologue on a reread.
Oh yeah.
On a reread, you're like, oh, this is, I see how significant this part is. I see how
you're like
significant.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah. Like, oh, this is cool. This is backstory. And at that point, the history of the dragon more. Right, who is confronting the Dragon Reborn. You're like, oh, yeah. I get all of this. This all makes sense now, and it's cool.
Yeah. I think
so whenever
Dragon Mount's the better prologue. But
okay.
I think earlier is the easier to dip your foot in prologue.
Got it. Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I like it, and I'll definitely read it here soon. But yeah.
So
so speaking of
on the beginning of the story, right?
Yeah, the beginning. It's good. I like how it begins. I love Rand alone in the street with a Myrddraal, just staring. Obviously, he doesn't know what it is at the time, and it's just
I was just about to. I was literally just about to say that. That's one of the biggest things that stuck out to me the very first time I read it. It's like, oh, the wind's not whipping at his coat, and I'm like,
yeah,
why? Why is it not?
And obviously,
right?
Even if this is a first time read for you, you can infer that even though there's no hoof prints, it must be my imagination. It's not his imagination. Yeah. Imagine if Robert Jordan wrote the book.
There's a guy over there, I think. Nah.
Yeah.
Nah, I didn't see him. No, motherfucker, you saw him. Motherfucker, you saw him. You should have told some people you saw him, but you didn't.
Yeah, it's really good.
Which actually kind of foreshadows how Rand is too. Not trustworthy. He doesn't trust other people, I should say. He's not trusting of others. I mean, you can see it in this book written all the way through.
And obviously, well, if you're watching this, you should have read the first book. We know that male channelers, Rand being a male channeler and Rand being the Dragon Reborn, while he's in denial about it still at the end of the book.
Yeah.
Rand being the Dragon Reborn, we I'll wait.
I
I'll
don't.
pause.
I don't
I'll
let my
pause.
dog free. No,
Yeah.
you can keep talking.
We know that Rand should go crazy.
Yeah.
He's a male channeler, and all the male channelers, it's really hit home in this book. If you channel and you're a male, you will die, you will go insane, you will kill everybody you know.
And somebody's trying to find you to make you gentler. I tell you
Yeah,
what.
gentler to
Yeah.
make you a gentleman.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No. So I think the very beginning of that book actually really foreshadows that well. His distrust
Yeah.
of others. Especially like just Matt too. He's like, well, how far can we trust Moraine? She's only saved our life constantly. She told us she can fix our dreams, but what if we tell her she'll kill us? Matt, you're being dumb.
I don't know about that, man. Moraine messed that up for herself.
Well, she's an Aes Sedai. They mess everything up.
First, Moraine destroyed the ferry, right? Which everyone was like, "Ooh, you saw her destroy the ferry, right? That was scary."
It's the right move.
They're all little village kids. They don't get it.
But super the right move. I mean, you just say, "Hey, look across the river. There's 300 Trollocs." No.
But Moraine catches the boys, and specifically Matt, but she catches the boys talking about going off. Oh, maybe seeing. I think they were talking about seeing Ilion, seeing Tyr, whatever, And she comes in and literally threatens their life. Like
but did she mean it? Yeah.
She's this big bad Aes Sedai, and we get, you get the sense of fear from all of these village folk, not even just the village folk, from all of the people about Aes Sedai.
It's an arrogance of Aes Sedai.
Yeah, there's a real sense of fear.
Arrogant.
And so she messed up them telling her about the dreams because of that time. And she messed it up for a while in the book, and but kind of bringing it back a little bit, this is one of the issues I have with the book. I don't understand how Moraine does not recognize Rand. He is so obviously of foreign blood
because she's not prejudiced.
She doesn't see color, right?
She doesn't see a ginger,
eye color,
a very tall ginger,
a gray-eyed ginger.
Yeah,
who's obviously the tallest dude around, which is very characteristic of the people she's looking for, or the people who the dragon is born from. And again, she's of the blue Ajah, who are the Ajah who are supposed to be of the world, right? Who are closest to the world and going out and actually supporting events that happen in the world. And the Ajahs will kind of Ajahs, whatever you want to call them. The Aes Sedai groups will end up being fleshed out more in later books. But, just keep in mind, Blue Ajah is of the world, and somehow she doesn't recognize that he is...
Well, she can't be sure.
He's a foreigner.
She can't be sure.
And now it ends up working out in her favor, right? Because, just so happens, 3 of these people are Ta'veren, and then she gets 2 additional, channelers with Nynaeve and Egwene.
Yeah.
So it works out, but that's just one of the issues I have with the beginning.
So the biggest issue I take with that specifically, right? It's this arrogance of the Aes Sedai. And this happens throughout all the series. And it's one of the few things I think Robert Jordan didn't write as well as he.
You think so? I think it was was all intentional.
No. The way I would say it is they're just Rand can channel. Rand's probably the Dragon Reborn, right? And these Aes Sedai are like, if I don't guide you, we all die, right? And Rand's like, hey, especially later on in the series, pause, super spoiler here, skip ahead.
What?
Skip ahead if need be.
We said...
Well, that's what a super spoiler is.
Super spoiler from when? How far ahead do these viewers have to be? Okay.
Just specifically with Cadswan,
If you haven't read up to book 7, skip ahead like a minute, I guess.
Just Cadswan, that's it. The way that's handled is completely unrealistic of how it probably legitimately would happen, And I still think he wrote it well. I just think it's one of his few weak spots in writing The White Tower in general. I think the Aes Sedai's arrogance is a little overblown. It could have been dialed back
Overblown.
a little.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um.
Also, I
Yeah.
didn't really
The Aes
spoil
Sedai.
anything. I just said a name.
Yeah. True. I'm not gonna get too much into Aes Sedai as a whole because they're really not a big part of this book. Moraine is an Aes Sedai, and the lore of Aes Sedai is a big deal. And we end up meeting Elida, who is, I mean, we don't even see her for who she is. She's Bretajaw. She is one of the Aes Sedai, and we're told about this, that hunts male channelers.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that hunting of male channelers, they end up typically having kind of a swayed view of men in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, even in this book, she's not terrible. She's just like, she's a queen's advisor and she acts like it.
Oh yeah. What I guess to clarify my point on that, Aes Sedai all eventually get like Moraine, right? And with that, that's where I'm like, it could have been.
I understand what you're saying. I understand that you're saying that Aes Sedai, they're not connected with the world. They don't get it. They don't get the
They
common
have no humility. They have none.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
They don't get it. I understand, and it definitely shows in this book.
Yeah.
With that, go ahead.
Moraine's great.
Yeah, I do love Moraine. She is great. She is great. I just want to say, I have it on my screen here. I really enjoy, or I like, Robert Jordan's explanation of plot armor that he gives the main characters. Right?
Does he have an explanation for that?
Yeah, ta'veren, right? The main characters are ta'veren. So it's like, oh, the reason why everything is going the way that you need it and want it, it's because ta'veren. Like, I mean, okay. It's not just like, the main characters have plot armor.
I never thought about it that way. Honestly, I never thought.
He's like,
you interchange the word ta'veren with plot armor. It works. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It's like, ta'veren, or change it with main character.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes. It's because you're ta'veren. No, it's because you're a main character. Yeah.
But it's cool. I like it because it gives that idea to everyone else in the story too, and people want to be associated and around, like Loial, right? People want to be associated and around them because they're ta'veren. And then Loial ends up actually, becoming friends with Rand specifically, but also with Mat and Perrin.
Speaking of my boy Loial, I love him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, random question: who's your favorite side character that pops up in this book?
My favorite side. Who would you consider the main characters? Rand.
Yeah, so aside from the main group, so not Lan.
Oh,
not
from
Moraine.
The main group.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because if it
main group as in Moraine, Lan, Rand, Perrin, Nynaeve, Egwene, and Mat. Sure. Loial doesn't count in it.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite side character?
I mean, Loial gets the most attention aside from them.
True.
Right?
True.
I would, I guess on that, and I like Loial. He's
great.
Yeah, he's good. He's great. He's a very hasty Ogier.
Loial's great. So
by human standards, he is not hasty in the slightest. So
I would say Loial, followed by Min.
Okay.
Super interesting character in the book.
Yep. She's given a very, very brief introduction in this book. But yeah, she is cool. She reads the pattern. She can see these crazy symbols above people's heads. Yeah. So yeah.
That I think is cheating, but I mean, hey, when you have hacks, you have hacks,
Yeah. And so to take this into a negative note really quick, after going from our favorite side characters, but Alzamon, it's the dreams are so, I don't like them. And it's like, man, I wonder, is it the same sort of arrogance that he thinks that he can bring Rand over to his side, or in the beginning, he doesn't know who
Yeah.
specifically, even him. But is it just straight up arrogance, or is he delusional? Is he crazy? I don't understand.
So, Baselman, and on that note, Rand killing Baselman, right?
Uh-huh.
Fucking infuriates me. And the reason why it's like Rand's like, no, he's dead. I killed him.
I
You're
killed
like,
him.
no.
But we also immediately see Rand, he says Shaitan, right? Or
Yeah.
Shaitan.
And then it fucks
And
up.
he immediately gets hit by this
Yeah.
dizzy spell where it's like, oh, okay, so
And then Rand's still like, yeah, no, but I killed him, though. He's still dead.
Yeah, he's
You're like,
delusional for some reason. It's like, come on, man.
you really think he killed the Dark One after one
Yeah.
little sword fight?
He's a young village kid, right?
My
He's
guy.
16. He's from a village of like 200 people, who knows? And he thinks he just killed the Dark One. All right, cut him some slack.
No. No. But with that Baselman, yeah, the dreams are a big thing. And just kind of the character. I feel like the character wasn't. I don't even. I don't know how to describe it. It just felt. What's the word? Unfinished almost. Like it was put in there, and then he changed his mind later down the road. Robert Jordan. And he was like, well, this is good enough. I can fix this with a couple paragraphs later on. Right?
Maybe.
And explain it.
Which he does, right? He
does.
definitely he does explain it, and it does,
It just didn't feel as full-fledged as all his other
agree.
ideas.
I didn't enjoy the dreams with him. And again, we've both read these books before, so I wonder, if you're a first-time reader, or if you're not a first-time reader, comment below and let us know what you think about Balsamon, because I don't enjoy
Baselman.
yeah, I just don't enjoy his sequences in the boy's dreams.
Yeah, I almost like when I was rereading those, I was like, can I skip these? I'm pretty sure I can, and I lose nothing. That's the thing. They're kind of irrelevant. Not exposition, almost. I mean, they're relevant. The dreams are relevant, right? But what he does in the dreams feels fucking irrelevant as shit.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just a plot device put in there by Robert Jordan to get the group pointing at the Eye of the World, right? Yeah. Because obviously whenever the whole group splits up and then they come back together in Caemlyn, and the Tinkers talk about the Eye of the World.
Yeah.
The Tinkers talk about the Aiel woman they met that talks about the Eye of the World. Then does Moraine mention it separately? Oh no, Loial mentions the Eye of the World from a story from another Aiel party, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then Perrin and then Rand and Matt mentioned that Balsamon has been in their dreams, and this is where it comes forward, and that he also mentions the Eye of the World. So
then they're like, oh shit, we should probably go to Eye of the World, I guess.
Yeah, it must just be a plot device to point the finger at, oh, we can't go to the White Tower, we have to go to the Borderlands.
And to be fair, this is kind of the first needed plot device pusher, mm-hmm. right? I think every single book after this kind of just rolls through it without having something so blatant as this. But I think because this is the first major plot.
I agree that this one is extremely blatant. I definitely agree with that.
I'm not saying all the plots are great in the future. I'm not saying that at all. What I mean is this one feels the most blatant. Especially with how well the book is, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a great book. If you want to see our ratings on it, go check out our spoiler-free review too.
Somewhere.
Yeah, maybe we'll pin it up here somewhere. Maybe it'll be down in the description. Otherwise, go to our channel and just check out our stuff.
We'll figure it out.
But regardless, it's a good book, and I enjoy the book overall.
Yeah.
There's just a few things that especially being a rereader, right? I've reread this book many times, so I definitely see a lot of things that are like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
And something that I mentioned in our review as well is just the blatant almost similarities to Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
There's quite a few in this book. right? We have what? Let's think of a few really quick. Mount Doom. You have
Mount Doom.
the Mountains of Mist, right? Or the Misty Mountains.
Yeah.
You have like whenever Rand and Matt are going down that riverboat after Shadar Logoth, and there's all these nameless king statues
Oh yeah.
along the side of the river.
Yeah.
Land's character is really similar in this book, really similar to Aragorn. You know, this nameless king that won't pick up his crown because he doesn't want to lead.
You know what they say, duty, or death is lighter than a feather. Duty is heavier than a mountain.
Yeah, so I like that saying, but
thanks, Lan. Thanks, Lan.
It's definitely it's edgy, but I definitely like that one.
Actually, I mean, it's a legit saying. But so with that, I mean, yeah, it is. And specifically on that, the first big sequence of the book, up until the Trolloc raid in Eamon's Field, right? What are your thoughts on that sequence as a whole? So from start to when they leave, right? Eamon's Field.
I mean, I like the whole beginning. It's a good look. The first 5 chapters are just introducing the characters, and I like it. It's giving you the idea of these village kids from this cozy little backwoods town, right? Everyone's a farmer. Everyone knows each other. Rand and Tam, right? Rand's dad, who are from miles away across the forest. They're still like his father's in the village council still. So the town is so small that even someone who takes the whole day or half the day at least to get there, he's like, you know, a leader of the village. So it just paints the picture of how naive they are.
Yeah.
Of where they're coming from. You know, these 16-year-old kids, and then Egwene, I believe she's 14 or 15, I forget. I think she's 2 years younger than Rand in this book, which would make her 2 years younger than Perrin and Matt as well, because they're all
same
of
week.
the same age. Yeah. That's the whole point. But yeah, I like the beginning. I like Tom Maryland being introduced. I like him telling his little stories, right? His little tidbits of the stories. Moraine coming out and telling the story of Manetheren. You know, it's all great.
I'm gonna tell the truth here, no lie. Reading that story, rereading it, Manetheren, the fall of it. You know, my heart weeps for Manetheren. Some tears came to my eyes, dude. I was reading it and I was like, "Fuck, man, these are some manly ass tears," you know. But the first sequence, I thought was really well done. It wasn't too fast. It was just right.
And it's I've had mixed review. I shouldn't say I've had mixed reviews. My sister thought that the beginning sucked because it was too slow. Like, dude, it took.
You gotta establish some shit.
Yeah, look, you gotta introduce the characters. It's gonna take it takes like 100 pages. So I guess, hey, it's a lot to read, I guess, without a ton of action.
Yeah.
But there's still, you know, Robert Jordan's still throwing in these hints with the Myrddraal, or, you know, this dark figure, and just
and then
everyone talking, the war, the peddler coming in, you know, everything. It's great. And I'm not even talking about after the Trollocs come. I'm just talking about the first 5, where before anything goes off, right? It's just character introductions. And then I had a friend who thought that the beginning sucked because it started too fast. He didn't like that it only took 5 chapters to get started, and then all of a sudden it was balls to the wall.
I want more character development. My guy, you got 13 books. Like, don't worry, it's coming.
It's like, man, I understand some people, you know, there's obviously differences in what people like, but the beginning was really good to me. Some people might think it's a little too slow, some a little too fast.
So what about sequence 2?
What do you mean, after the Trollocs come?
Oh yeah, so sequence 2 would be from, let's call it, them, you know, getting to Baerlon, and then Shadar Logoth split. So when they split at Shadar Logoth, that's end of sequence 2. Okay,
I really liked it. Look, you don't even have to ask me if I liked it, and I don't have to say it. I liked the whole book. Ask me any of the sequences. I liked them.
What stood out about it though?
The party getting pushed away from the road and from where they're trying to go. and you really get to see Moraine, what channeling can do, why Aes Sedai are feared,
Yeah.
right? Because Moraine messes up the entire Trolloc horde that are here right now, right? Which is, I don't know how many
I
does
was
it
saying it was like
describe? A
200 or
couple
something.
hundred, yeah. So you really see her strength, and
Oh.
she's super tired afterwards, but still you can see why they're feared. And even still, you can see Lan taking on the Myrddraal and killing all of the Trollocs attached to it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
He's badass.
And then Shadar Logoth. It's Matt. This is where you really see how stupid Matt is. Matt is
My
just
boy's
such
dumb.
an idiot in this book.
Hey, don't touch anything. Don't take anything from here. Matt says, yeah, but it's a dagger. It's not something. I can take it, right?
She said, yeah, no, it's because he took it himself. Mordeth
Didn't
give it to him.
Yeah. It's like, you still took it,
It's
my
like,
guy.
it's like, man, you're so dumb.
So Mordeth, I think, was the big standout for me in the Shadar Logoth scene.
Yeah.
He scared the shit out of me. I was like, what's that? And then Moraine was like, holy fuck, who did you see?
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, she's freaked the fuck out after she just did that.
Yeah.
Okay, probably. Yeah. What's going on here?
And then you get the explanation of Shadar Logoth afterwards. And it's like, if you guys listened, you idiots.
Yeah.
Why would you go walking around in a place that
I also
Trollocs are afraid to go?
I will say, I think this is one of the times Moraine could have been a little bit more forthcoming and alleviated all of that shit. Saying, hey, I set wards right here. If you leave here, you'll die from a black mist monster. So don't do that.
Yeah.
Just stay here. But then again, Lan wouldn't
know,
have gone out to scout.
True.
Find the
and to be fair as well, Moraine is very weak, and she, Lan's carrying her in, and Lan gives the instruction, go take care of the horses. So they're kind of split apart, and they're not realizing. And some,
Lan knew
naive,
shit too. Lan could have been more forthcoming there too.
True.
What I'm saying is they're the leaders of the party. They know what that dangerous spot is, and they're not telling them.
Yes,
and they should have.
Honestly, a lot of the issues in this book come from Moraine hiding too much or not giving enough information.
Yeah. You need to give a little more than just the bare minimum. Just a little bit more. And guess what? Everyone's happier too.
Yep.
So sequence 3. What's the next big sequence, right? We got them split up now.
After Shadar Logoth. And I guess I would call it the split up, right? The whole travel of, and this is, I really like this part. But man, I had to, again, I listened to the audiobook. I had to listen to a couple of chapters over again because the journey for Matt and Rand,
that was hectic as fuck.
It's really, it can get confusing. And I think it's meant to be confusing. It's a little split up, right?
Yeah.
But a couple of the chapters, they seem out of order.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm sure it was intentional, right? We'll give Robert Jordan and his editors the benefit of the doubt, which I believe. Yeah, no. But I like the whole thing. Watching Rand and Matt thinking they're okay, playing their way through all these towns and villages.
Standout part, Perrin, alias Machira, right there for me.
Elias. Yeah, he's awesome. And this is another thing I didn't like as much. I wouldn't say I hated it. I don't like Perrin's attitude towards the wolves so immediately. But, I do kind of get it.
Shit. He's like, dude, what is going on?
Like,
am I Caesar Milan?
See, yeah, exactly. True. But I just, even knowing it's warranted, I still don't like how he's so hesitant and kind of such a baby about it.
Perrin, I think, has the slowest character development throughout the series, but I think his feels the most natural.
True.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. One thing about this, let's call it sequence, that I did not like was the time with the Tinkers. I felt it took too long. It was just kind of boring. Dude. Watching Perrin and Aram, and all of them just sitting around. It just, I didn't find it necessary.
That's just because you don't like the way of the leaf, man. You just don't like the Tuatha on however you say their name.
I totally understand that they're, again, a plot device. Robert Jordan's just throwing in that Eye of the World story, right?
Yeah.
From the Aiel. And he's giving you, It's a part of the world building too. He's giving you, here's Tuatha, or
Hey,
here's Tinkers.
here's our hippies, dude. We have hippies in this world too.
Yeah, here's the Tinkers.
Okay.
Then they also talk about the Aiel, right? And you understand the relationship a little bit between the traveling people and the Aiel. But yeah, I get why it's in there.
I was a huge not fan of the too.
Yeah.
I think Nynaeve, Moraine, and Lan. I thought that was fine.
It was super short too.
Yeah, super short. And Nynaeve had like completely a right to be like, just where are they? Where's everyone at?
Yeah.
And Moraine's like, oh, we'll find them. Don't worry.
Come
and she's like, I'm worried. No, I'm worried. Where are they? Where are they? You know,
I'll find them if I find them. Come on.
Yeah. If she like gets, in my opinion, unjustifiably angry at points, but in this case, 100%.
This is one of the points that's justifiable.
And then the Rand and Mat, that was super hectic. I remember when I was reading it too. It was super hectic for me, and and a big part of that.
And it was good. I enjoyed.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed each of the villages they went into and everything that happened.
I will say this: it almost felt a little too hectic, though. Like it could have pulled back a little bit because it was like, "Oh, we're at an end. Oh shit, fuck it, it's a fade, dude!" Right? And then they turn another corner. Oh shit, it's another fade, dude. We got to keep running, right? And they could have pulled back on that a little bit, and
But speaking of Mat and Rand, whenever Rand, how he finds out that Mat has that dagger too, I love that whole scene. Right, Rand up on the mast of the ship, just like hanging up there for no reason, and then going and grabbing onto grabbing onto a rope and or a line, if you will, and sliding down in front of Mat, and then he's holding the dagger. I like that whole scene. It's funny. It's cool.
So sequence after that, this is when Rand, Mat are in Caemlyn. They meet Loial, all the way up to the whole party gets together in Caemlyn.
Yep.
So that's the next sequence. What about this one?
Yep.
I love this one.
Yeah, it's great.
Loial.
Again, you don't have to ask me whether I like it.
Loial gets introduced, and I'm like, that's my man's, because fuck
Loial's
Mat right
a great
now.
Character. He's really cool.
Mat's being a douche right now, right? Not his fault, the dagger, but
yeah, and to be fair, or not to be fair, but I should say, Mat's basically out during this whole sequence.
Yeah,
we don't see him because he's huddled up in the corner of his room and he smells like shit, and Rand calls him out for it at one. Mat's out of commission right now. Yeah. We know from our point of view, it's like, oh, it's obviously he's being corrupted by the dagger. And somehow I don't understand why Rand doesn't realize that as well.
Rand's dumb at the moment.
Is he willfully ignorant? Yeah,
he's willfully dumb as shit at the moment.
He's a little kid from a small backwards town, so he doesn't realize. But yeah, it's awesome, and Rand meeting Elaine and Galad, meeting Queen Morghese. He meets Elida, and she gives a foretelling about him right in front of him, and he realizes. Yeah, and he's like, "Oh shoot, I'm very dangerous."
And Morghese comments on. No, she commented later. Never mind. For those, I've been rereading all of the books in a very short order, so some of my memories are mixed between them.
Speaking of Morghese, though, she totally gets caught in a Ta'veren web. Yeah. Right. Rand was almost screwed. He was almost put into prison for a couple of weeks. Elida questioning him, but Morghese, let him go because not enough people are upholding the peace.
Not enough people are good queensmen. You're a good queensman, even though I've never heard of you, and you've never heard of our taxman. So I think that is really good. I think the ending of it, where they're like, "Oh shit, you're having dreams," and all that stuff, right? As we talked about earlier. And that sets us up for the next sequence.
Well, one thing in this one, Loial, him and Rand kind of talk. Loial mistakes Rand for an Aielman.
Yeah.
And people have been mistaking him for it throughout the whole book.
Yeah. But every time Rand says,
somehow
Tam's my dad, dude.
Yeah.
Tam's my dad.
But one thing that I thought was cool that I never noticed before, right? I had mentioned I've read this reread this series so many times, but I never realized that the Ogier know that the Aiel have a Vendisora, right? The Tree of Life.
Yeah.
Which the Tree of Life ends up becoming a more significant. It's never a significant thing, but it becomes more present. You really get the lore behind it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never realized that. I thought that it was just totally unknown to everybody except the Aiel, right? But Loial says that the Ogier know where it is.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. I was like, oh, I never realized that.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway too, especially because like if you're like, oh, who's the Dragon Reborn throughout this book, if you're at that point, okay, first off, reread just any sentence ever. It's Rand. Okay.
Yeah, it's all through Rand's point of view. Like you can in the first like hour of reading, you're like, I am almost only on this one character. He must be the main character.
But
and
also,
who's the main character in this book? The Dragon Reborn.
But also, he's just like, no, Tam's my dad. Tam, this guy is my dad, even though I'm 1.5 feet taller than him and I'm a ginger.
Hey, I'm taller than my dad, and my hair's lighter than his.
Fair. But you're like, okay, something, and specifically Moraine says right off the bat, oh, he was born on not in here, and that's only Rand. Which
again somehow she doesn't realize, but okay.
Yeah, I mean she's only been around. I mean, she's 50 when the shit starts. I think, right? I think she's.
I don't know. I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were novices, or she was a novice during the Aiel War, which was 15 to 16 years prior to that. And whenever girls become novices, they're like 13 to 15, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So sure.
Here we go.
She's old.
These are the ages. We got it.
Oh.
Yeah. Moraine is 42.
Okay.
Matt, Perrin, and Rand are 19, and Egwene and Elaine are 17. So they are 2 years younger.
They're 19 though?
Yeah.
I remember them being younger than that.
Eye of the World takes place in 998 NE, and they were born.
Is this the book? You're sure it's not?
This
for
is
the show?
coming from
Because I know in the
yeah, this is an article from like 5 years ago. So
okay.
Yeah.
I thought that they were way younger than that. Okay, whatever. All right, yeah. But regardless, okay, those ages surprise me.
Yeah, I always thought they were like 16 to 18. I don't know. Maybe I watched too much anime in my life.
So I'm sure the next sequence, right? The Ways.
Yeah.
Pretty cool as well.
The Ways and end it at Dara for when they go to search for the Eye of the World.
Sure. They get to Dara and they realize, oh, Padan Fain is chasing us, and he's been chasing them the whole time, right? This is where you get kind of a snippet of
the evil
Padan Fain. Yeah, right. So he's obviously in the Two Rivers. And then he goes with them to Baerlon. Rand finds him in Baerlon. And then, he shows up. Well, we don't know it's him, but it turns out to be him in Caemlyn. And then all of a sudden he turns up in Dara. So yeah, he's been following them the whole time.
Yeah.
Kind of like again, I mentioned it before, the similarities to Lord of the Rings. Yeah, his Gollum character.
Yeah. I think so. The Ways, for one, it's immediately mentioned, and Loial's like, nah, dude.
Yeah.
But then they're like, well, hold on, and he's like, all right, I'm in. Fuck it, you guys are Taverin. You got me. We'll go.
Yeah. This Taverin web that he gets pulled into.
Oh yeah.
And he's and he's actually rare amongst Ogier in that he can translate the what are they called?
Was it the Ogier text, right? I forget. It was Ogier's script, I remember.
The Waystones. I forget what they're called.
The Guidestones.
Guidestones. There you go. Guidings. But yeah, he's rare in that he's a tree singer, which is extremely rare. And since he's a tree singer, he has studied the ancient Ogier text.
Yeah.
So
so I think that was super cool. And then just going into the ways was cool. You know, you're like,
yeah.
oh, what is this power from an age past, which,
yeah,
you know, the Age of Legends didn't even know about fully. Or, no, I'm thinking something else. My bad. Again, a lot of books
and then
in a short
Mei
time.
Chin Chin comes out, you know.
Mei Chin Chin comes, and they're like, nah, gone again, right? It's kind of like a Shadar ghost.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I enjoyed both of those things, right? But Mei Chin Chin, or Ma Chin Chin, however it's pronounced, it's definitely a thing of the Dark One, or at least the Taint, right? And it's explained that way because the male channelers created the ways, and because they're the ones, because Sidene was used to create it, it had this taint that was like seeping off into the ways. Where Mashadar, I really liked that because it's like, look at Arid Hole, right? Shadar Logoth. They were so messed up that they killed themselves, they killed everybody, and Mordith is just this ancient being that eats anyone up, and there's this weird fog that just freaking kills everybody.
That's probably why. So, can I say that? No. So, well, Padan Fain, right, is found following them all the way to Dara. Yep. They had Mach and Shin on their heels, right? And they're like, "Oh, how did he get through that? What do you mean?"
And
what
and
is
it's he? Like, oh, he did get caught by it.
Yeah.
And then Moraine explained
like,
it.
oh.
Yeah, some of the voices in Mach and Shin like screamed and ran away from him. Yeah. It's like, oh, geez.
Hold on, is that book 2?
No, it's in book 1.
Okay.
Mach and Shin, because she goes down, right? They get to Dara.
Yeah.
He arrives there. Moraine takes the evening to question him, and it comes out there like, because Egwene is like, didn't he get caught, or how did he not get caught by Mach and Shin? And then Moraine's like, oh, he did. Some of the voices welcomed him as a brother, some of them ran away from him.
That's right.
And this is where you really are like, oh man, Padan Fain is a serious villain. He's a seriously this guy's a real messed Ted up Bundy. Guy. Yeah, he's really messed up.
But yeah, so then and then just chilling in Dara was chill, cool, right?
So do you think Moraine could have just stayed in Dara?
What do you mean?
Like because she had gone to the Eye of the World before.
Yeah.
And she was banking on the fact, oh, our need is great enough. Like she almost messed everything up. Right?
Technically, right, if your need's great enough. But the wheel weaves as the wheel fills, Nick. So they needed to go there.
But she was just banking on it. She was like, man, it's going to work. It's going to work.
Yeah, literally. She's like, guys, no need is greater than this.
Yeah. And she's not wrong, but still. I just thought it was so funny that she went anyway, even though everyone was like, well, you've already been there and no one can go twice.
So, final sequence. Thoughts?
Going to the Eye, right, from Dara through the Blasted Lands into, I guess they get to the foot of the Mountains of Doom, right? Yeah. And that's where they end up meeting the Green Man. I like it. It's cool. You get this idea of the Blasted Lands, you know, where they're in the blight and it's not even the blight, and they're like, oh, the weather is great, it feels so wonderful, and then it ends up just becoming disgusting and humid and hot, and the plants are just eating, like they're rotting as they're alive. You know, Land really starts describing some of these creatures that live in the blight that are like totally worse than Trollocs.
That's when you feel bad for Lan. You're like, dude, your hometown's fucked.
Yeah. There's
not much coming back from this, my guy.
Yeah.
But not a lot happens. Short
it's a short sequence. It's a short ride.
Yeah. Boom. Final sequence.
Yeah. In into the eye, into the Green Man's fields, forest, whatever you want to call it. I so
This
I
is where I
liked,
struggle a little.
yeah, I liked the meeting with the Green Man. I thought
Yes.
it was I liked the Green Man. I liked the meeting with him. Right, it kind of he points Perrin out for what he is, which is cool. It shows how ancient he is.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, wolf brother.
he, yeah,
What?
uh, yeah. I like the meeting with him. And then they go into it. And so speaking of,
What about the sudden pop up of Agenor and Balthamel?
well, prior to that, right? They go down into the eye,
Yeah.
right? Which is like this chamber, and the pool in the eye, which is supposed to be a pure pool of Sayadine. It's either to me that this is not just pure Sayadine, and it has to be more powerful than that, or it's like, why, like you said, the two of the Forsaken show up. It's like, why would they need to? Because they already channel an untainted version of Sayadine, or at least it seems that way, right? um they already channel Sayadine. So it's like, why would, if it was just a pool of untainted Sayadine, why would they need it? Who cares? So
Yeah.
it must be more powerful than just not having the taint on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that might be an unfinished idea too type deal, unless somebody's super
Yeah,
smart with a
maybe.
super cracked theory.
And
That's dope.
yeah,
But
and Moraine calls it the essence of Sayadine as well. So,
yeah.
maybe she has
I mean,
the
to be
knowledge
fair,
that it is something more.
it's
But
side in person in like liquid form.
yeah, in a physical form, yeah.
So I mean, it might have different properties as well because of
True.
that.
True. Okay. Yeah, I
And
the fact
Agenor and
that they call
Balthamel
it
looked like
Sayadine.
dog shit, right? When they got
Yes,
there, and then they
because
looked less like
apparently,
dog shit when they were pulling from it, right?
well,
Agenor,
Bathalmal, yeah, Agenor,
yeah.
because Bathalmal doesn't even get to pull from it,
So
right? And I know
maybe the
this is
essence,
something. Yeah, I think it has to be more powerful than it's
maybe
made
it's
out to be.
rejuvenative as well. You know what I
Maybe,
mean?
which would be why they want it to
Uh-huh.
break open the prison.
Yeah.
Um,
Or just
but
make
yeah,
them
and
like L'Oreal, look younger.
so, so with the Forsaken showing up, I kind of like this end sequence. I know that you disagree with that.
I just don't like how suddenly they pop up. They pop up. So to get to
Yeah.
the eye of the world, you need a great need, right?
Mm-hmm.
And boom, you're there. And then they just show up. So did they? How'd they get there? How'd they get
Maybe.
there?
Well, this whole area was created in the Age of Legends, so I
That's
guess
true.
we can just assume like
Maybe
it
they
was.
knew it beforehand.
Yeah, they knew how it was created,
And
right?
Agenor was the smart one.
True. Yeah.
So if anyone
Um.
would know, it probably would be him.
Yeah.
Um.
But
So there's that.
Balthamel,
It's
I hope it
useless.
is Balthamel who is the Forsaken here. If it ends up being Balal, which I don't think it is.
It's not Bilal.
Okay, it's not. So it must be Balthamel.
I'm just gonna take a look real quick.
Yeah.
He's that
So
irrelevant.
Balthamel, I honestly enjoyed his death.
He gets
Right.
clapped.
The green, he totally, both of the Forsaken totally dismiss the Green Man, and they're like, get the hell out of here, you old tree. Go live out the rest of your life. You're the last of your people. And then the Green Man just comes in. He's like,
Yeah, it's Balthamel.
fuck you. It is. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I thought it was. I just, there's one or two of them that start with, or two or three of them that start with a B.
Wow.
So, but yeah, the Green Man comes in and just totally destroys him. Again, the arrogance of channelers. While they are super powerful,
Tree of the face still
right?
gonna hurt.
And the Forsaken, who are supposed to have been the most powerful in the Age of Legends, where Aes Sedai were even more powerful than current Aes Sedai could even imagine.
By a lot.
So it kind of shows you the humanity of them, how he's still, even though they're completely arrogant, they're obviously the most powerful channelers of their age. He gets messed up by this tree guy.
Yeah, true. Yeah, just a pimp slap. It's like, oh, I'm on fire, but I got you, bitch. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Green Man dies for it, but yes.
I just think the sequence at the end is a little cringe. Where he's
Yeah.
fighting Baselman again,
Yeah.
right? And Baselman's like
Yeah.
doing his Baselman shit, and
Yeah.
you're like,
Torturing his what we see as his mother. Yeah.
yeah,
I liked the sequence where Rand goes to
Tarwin's
Tarwin's
Gap.
Gap and just
Yeah.
kills all the Trollocs and Myrddraal and Drakkar. That whole part is cool. But yeah, the fight with the power against Balsamon and against Agenor, it's kind of lame.
It's
Ooh, there's this darkness coming from you. Let me cut it.
yeah. I deny you. I deny you, dude.
Dead.
If I read another sentence that says "I deny you, father of lies," I deny you, dude. If I read another one of those sentences, that's what irks me about the Baselman shit. Because every time he's like, "No, I did, dude. I deny you, dude. Denied, father of lies," and it's like, my guy, you've said it 1,000 times, and guess what he's doing? He's still taunting you.
While we're on this last part, I think we would be remiss if we didn't bring up at least. I understand there's no answer. But Rand hears this voice while he's in Tarwin's Gap. That's like, so it is apparently the creator talking to him, right? At least that's what I would think.
What
right there? This voice comes. He's in Tarwin's Gap, and he's pulling on the power, and some voice comes to him and says, I forget what it is exactly, but it's like, not here, and so Rand then is able to step to another location where he confronts Balsamon.
Has to be ended. Mother so Balsamon, then he goes to, right? Boom. It's not here. Oh wait, no, that happens before Balsamon confrontation, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's while he's confronting the army.
Oh yeah, not here. The light
Gap.
blinds you, Balsamon. This has to end. It is not here. It was not Rand's thought, making his skull vibrate. I will take no part. Only the chosen one can do what must be done, if you will. Where? Blah. Not here. Tarwin's Gap's pretty close to Shia Ghul, and it's written in all caps, which is the way the Dark One's words are fucking written.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a little bit of a spoiler. Not really, but a little bit. But yes, that's why I said we'd be remiss to at least mention it, right? There's this huge voice reverberating in his head that is obviously not a thought of his own. So is it the Dark One talking to him? Is it the creator taking a hand in it and talking to him? It's kind of a mystery.
Yo, it can't be the Dark One though, because like, I will take no part. Only the chosen one can do what must be done, if he will.
Oh, is that what it says?
Yeah, is that the Dark One? Hey, that's not the Dark One saying that shit. In Rand's head,
like something that
Rand's head, no, that'd be like the Dark One's like,
it was
nah.
I don't think it was ever confirmed, but yeah,
that's a good question.
Know.
I didn't even think about that.
This is the first book, so there's a lot more to unpack in later books not about this statement necessarily, but with supporting stuff that happens.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention it, that he hears this voice and it's obviously not his own.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the madness. Maybe he's already going crazy.
I'd say this is a bit early for that.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm just saying.
But then again, maybe yeah, honestly. But yeah, all in all, I mean, what a great first book for a true high fantasy series.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't even want to call this a series, because like A Ranger's Apprentice was a series. This is like an epic.
Yeah, it's a fantastic one.
It is A, epic. B, it's incredibly well built, the world. Yeah. So overall, I mean, all the sequences I thought were really good. Obviously, there's some mistakes with the book. No book's going to be perfect, right? Not to everyone's cup of tea, writing style and stuff. But even still, overall, completely enjoyable book. Would read again. 10 out of 10. Recommend.
Same. Yeah,
or whatever I said in my other review I did.
yeah, obviously everyone here should have read the book. So, and look, I would just kind of put this out. I would recommend continuing the series.
Oh yeah.
If you enjoyed this book, you'll definitely enjoy the second book. And, you know, there ends up getting a point to where the series does slow down, but it's not for a while, and it's a fantastic series, even with the slowdown.
There's still good scenes in it.
Yeah, it's all great. The series is a great series overall, so I would suggest reading it. And if you're thinking about not continuing, go check out. We're gonna have multiple reviews on each of the books. We have book 1 and book 2 right now actually out, even though we're talking about book 1. So go check those out. If you're not too sure about book 2, go check out our spoiler-free review, where we really we give it a rating, and we would suggest reading it.
And if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to please like and subscribe, comment below, comment any books you'd like us to do a review on. For now, we're gonna this is first long form, so we'll put out kind of the plan for it, but we're gonna try to hit Wheel of Time book once a month for all of them. But we're still open to doing other book reviews and going through and reading.
Yeah, in
nothing
the future,
like I'll tell you this now though. I'm not reading 50 Shades of Grey. I'm not. I refuse.
Again, our channel name is Fantasy Book Review, so please keep it in the genre.
Next book review is going to be book 2, The Great Hunt.
Yeah.
Which link will be over here somewhere. I'll find a spot to put it.
We're gonna have the link for book 2 and the book 1 one, huh?
Oh yeah, we're gonna link some shit. Oh yeah, I don't care. Why not?
Okay.
But yeah, so see you next time.
All right. Yeah. Thanks everyone for watching.